In this video, I'll be covering the basics of editing your videos in Capcut, as well as teaching you some editing principles so you can make the most of this fantastic free editing software. Capcut can be used to edit videos on your mobile phone, on your tablet, on a PC, or your Mac. In this video, I'll show you how to download the desktop version of Capcut, how to navigate the user interface, how to import your video clips, how to make basic video edits and cuts, how to add music to your video, how to adjust and edit the color and audio of your videos, and how to add text to your video projects. I'll also explain some basic editing principles so you can make the right decisions on what to keep and what to edit out. Now, there is a web-based version of Capcut, but I personally prefer the desktop version, so I would start off by downloading this. You'll find a link to this in the video description. So once you've installed Capcut, open it up and there's a very prominent new project button at the top of the screen. If you just click on that, guess what? Starts a new project. So let's jump in and do that straight away. Now, when Capcut editing interface first opens up, you'll see that there are 4 distinct areas of the page. In the top left, you've got the import section where you can import videos and images and all the different assets that you're going to be using to make your edit and create your film. The top middle is the player area, and this is where once you've got a video in there and you're playing it, that's where it's going to preview. Top right is your detail section. That will change depending upon whether or not you've got a clip selected or highlighted or not. And down the very bottom, running all the way across the screen, you have got the editing timeline. And you're going to be spending a lot of time in there. So that's really where you're cutting up things and moving bits around and adding new bits of video and audio and stuff like that. So you'll spend a lot of your editing time in there. Now that I've got the videos imported up here, I can either bring one down at a time, just left click and drag it down, or I could select multiple clips and I could drag them down. I'm going to select those 3 there by dragging them across them, drag them down there, and then I can hit play, and that's going to preview above. Let me just show you a couple of the tools that you've got across the top here of your editing timeline. So on the right hand side, you've got turn off main track magnet. Now when that's turned on, if I grab hold of a clip and I try and move it to the right and let go, it just springs back like a magnet. If I turn that off and I can then move that to the right, and I can create a gap where I might want to put something else. Now, you don't actually need to create a gap to be able to put something in there, but as you start to play around with editing, you'll realize that sometimes it's easier just to create a gap to be able to do it. But let's say if I wanted to take this piece of video here and pop it in the middle of these 2 clips. So I can grab it, I can move it, I can drag it to the middle of them, and you will see it will just open up, and I can let go. And there it goes, straight in the middle there. Now I've changed the order of those clips and what they look like. And again, I can take that one and I can move it to the end if I want. Turn off auto snapping. This is a really nice feature. Let's say, for example, if I turn off main track magnet, I move these out of the way and I go, right, I know where that playhead is. I want to put this video. I can move it slowly up to it, and there we go. It just clips to it. And it will do the same with other video clips as well. If I just drag it slowly up to it, there we go. It just clips to it. Now, that can be really handy if you're putting a clip to the left-hand side of something, whereas main track magnet will move everything all the way to the left. If you want to put something at the start of a clip, then that's a nice feature to have on. So I tend to keep that on. Again, you'll probably find with main track magnet, you turn it off and on depending upon what you're doing. Just be careful, because sometimes you can turn it on and you can move everything all the way to the left, and you didn't want to do that. And then if you've got other things, maybe music or captions or other clips that are linked to the videos beneath, covering up some edits and things like that, and you turn on that main track magnet, halfway through. Sometimes you can kind of close everything up. It just takes a bit of practice to figure out exactly how it works and when you want it on and off. If I just click on it now, everything's just going to zoom up to the left and fit there. Talking of fitting, you've got a zoom function, so we can click on here, and that just allows you to really punch into the edit. And that's really helpful when you're editing audio. So, for example, I can see here that Duncan is talking, or someone is talking over the top of this clip here. You can see because you've got the audio levels going there. So if I just hit play, let's find out what's going on.
What was the show?
What was the show? Don't know what we're talking about. We're obviously just chatting away as we're filming together. But I'm just filming B-roll. I'm filming 10 seconds of clips of sort of, his fishing tackle and bait and things like that. And I'm going to use those to create a fishing video. So that little bit of audio, I don't want that there. I just want to get rid of it. With that on, that auto snapping, you'll see it will just auto snap. So I can select it, auto snap up to that timeline, and then I can see all we've got is bird noise. Beautiful. So Duncan's no longer talking. We're not just chatting away in the background, and I can now use that clip if I'm happy with visually what it looks like. The zoom to fit timeline just to the left of that magnifying glass plus or minus, if you've got it zoomed all the way in, or let's say you've got a really complicated edit with loads of stuff all the way across there, if you hit that, everything's just going to squish up just so that it fits perfectly within frame. Just a really cool way of just being able to do that super quickly. That's really helpful. To make edits, I've shown you one way of doing that, which is to grab the start or the end of the clip and just drag it along. The other way is to make a cut or a split. Let's say, for example, I just wanted to cut here and I wanted to get rid of that middle section. Again, I can see someone is talking there. So if I want to I select where I can see someone is talking, hit the split button, clip to the right of it, hit the split button, and you can see I've taken that one clip and I've turned it into 3 different ones. And if I just wanted to get rid of that middle one, I can highlight it and I can just hit delete on my keyboard and it is gone. You can obviously just click at any point and hit the play button. You can see just where that jumped, where that cut was. And there we go, and jumped again where I've taken it out. Now, if you make a mistake, remember you can just hit Control-Z and you can go backwards and put it back to how it was. Really cool function of Capcut. And not all editing software does that. It's called non-destructive editing. And that's really what you're looking for with any piece of editing software. It's something that can do that. The other way you can do it is by hitting B on the keyboard. And what it does, it kind of creates this kind of razor blade effect. And you can click there, you can click there. And then if you press A, you've got the select tool. And that just allows you to select it and then hit delete, and that's gone. So A and B are really good, quick keyboard shortcuts for you to get used to using when you're editing. And that's really going to speed up your editing process. Again, go and check out those shortcuts. The final way I'll show you is if I've got this clip here and I wanted to get rid of the last bit here. Let's say I wanted to keep all this talking. I don't know what it is. We're probably talking complete rubbish. But let's just say I wanted to get rid of everything to the right of it. I can select it here and I can click on this delete to right. And the shortcut for that is W. So if I just hit W now, there we go. Everything to the right of that playhead has been deleted. And again, if I just hit Control-Z, I can undo that. And I can do delete to left, which the shortcut for that is Q. So if I wanted to delete everything to the left, let's say I wanted to get rid of all that talking because it turns out we actually are talking rubbish, I can just hit Q and there we go, that's gone. And I know I've got nice, serene footage just with bird noises playing in the background. Now, the very observant of you will have noticed that all of the footage that I brought in at the moment is titled up B-roll. Now, B-roll is secondary video. So this main timeline is what you would call the A-roll. That's where you put your main feature video. And the B-roll are the cutaways and different shots that you might use. Now, that's just how I like to categorize my videos when I've saved them. It just makes it really quick for me to be able to find them. I tend to have a separate folder with B-roll in. What this does mean though is I can select all of those videos and just move them up a section. And that just means that the main track is now completely free. There's a shot here, 2 minutes and 44. I know this is where Duncan is catching a fish. I'm going to drag that down and I'm going to make that my A-roll footage. So I've got all this here and I've got the B-roll above it. Let's say we don't want the audio from that B-roll. I can just click on mute clip audio and that will mute the whole line there. So there were some bird noises. If you remember, they've all gone. Now I can edit this down, this main track. Let me find the interesting bit. Another thing you can do is you can hide the track above. So I'm just going to hide it for the moment. There we go. So I can see he is catching a fish at that point. Oh, it's looking.
You can see the worm. You can see the worm. So
there we go. He's got a fish in his landing net. Wonderful. Okay, cool. Right. So I'm actually just going to cut everything to the left and just cut straight to the bit where he picks up the fish and takes it out of the water so that he can unhook it. Now, these clips above, these B-roll clips, if I just turn those back on again so that we can see them, I'm going to get rid of some of those now because I'm really just showing you this for demo purposes. If I just select it, click delete, get rid of all the ones that I don't want, and let's say I just want to leave that one there. So let's have a little look and see what's going on. Oh, lovely perch. So he picks up the fish and then it shows the B-roll over the top. And because I've muted the sound of it, then, you know, that's all gone. Obviously that clip, that B-roll is all out of focus and rubbish. So it's not actually what we would use, but it shows you the principle of it. Now, if we wanted to make an edit to this clip here, we wanted to get rid of something, we can select it. Remember, we can use the split tool or B, so we can just select there. We can select there, select that bit in the middle, get rid of that, and, you know, we can just jump straight to something else. So let's see what else we've got here. I think he's holding up the fish here, so I'm going to delete everything to the left. Let's go and have a look at it. There we go, wonderful. There we go, so there's that fish. Let me get rid of that first bit, go straight to the fish. And then this B-roll. Lovely. What do you reckon that? So let's get a different bit of B-roll to go over the top. Lovely. What do you reckon that? Maybe make that a little bit longer. So, what do you reckon that?
well, 10, I would think.
There we go. So you get the idea. If I select the clip, I'll show you some of the other tools that you've got in the top right-hand corner. Now that we've got the clip in there, we've done a bit of editing, move things around. We just get rid of that notification. You've got things like scale. So if I move this back over the top, and let's say I want to zoom in on the perch a little bit bigger. That's what that fish is, by the way, if you're not a fisherman. I can zoom in there, and then I can click on it, and I can drag it and just put it right central to the screen there. Wonderful. Okay, so now we've made that a bit larger. Let's see if we can do something with that audio. So if I click on audio up above, you've got the volume, so I could just make it all louder. But seeing as the audio isn't great, there's lots of rustling around, that's not going to help me too much. I've got loudness normalization. I've got enhance voice. This is a feature that's only available within the Pro version of Capcut, but it's really helpful if you're shooting on a mobile phone or shooting on a camera and you don't have an external microphone connected, you've just got some pretty ropey audio, then sometimes this can get you out of a bit of a fix. So a couple of other features that you can muck around with. Once you've got the video selected, again, go up to the top, you've got video where I've just changed the size of that. and zoomed in a little bit. You've got stabilize. That's really handy if you've shot something on a mobile phone or just you weren't on a tripod and you just want to stabilize the footage. And do this on the standard version of CapCut. Hit that, and that's going to automatically stabilize your footage a little bit. That's a really cool thing to do. You've got some really noisy background, cars and, a train going past. You can try out noise reduction. That is a pro feature, but it's definitely worth looking at if you do get into your editing, is upgrading to the pro version because it's not particularly expensive. On the audio side, once you click audio, you've got volume up and down, and you've got fade in and fade out. The fade in and fade out is particularly good if you're putting music underneath a video clip, which I'll show you in a moment how you do that. And you've got, for the pro version, you've got enhanced voice. So this particular clip, I know that Duncan's not talking very loudly. He didn't actually have an external microphone connected to him, a lapel mic, and I didn't have an external microphone on my camera at the time because I just turned up. And what happened is he caught this fish and I just needed to very quickly capture the footage. So you can enhance the voice if you go and check out the fishing videos on my channel, or that's actually on Duncan's channel. Go and check that out, and you'll be able to see what the audio ended up coming out like. But yeah, it was loads better. So I played around with it there. You've also got speed, so you can slow the footage right down, or you can speed it up. Again, just click on it and it will adjust the length within the timeline and speed it up or slow it down for you. And you've got things like animation, which I would typically avoid animation or encourage you to avoid animation because, to be honest with you, it's really easy to get wrong or to over animate stuff, but it does all sorts of funky things like, pulling in some weird zoom thing like that, and things. So I would tend to avoid them. And the same I would say with transitions, which are in the top left. Transition is something that when you go from one piece of video to another piece of video, you might put in a transition, a bit like a wipe. And I would typically avoid those if you can. Certainly when you're starting out, just focus on getting really good quality video and clipping it together to create the best story possible. Adjustments is where you can add in color adjustments. So you can play around with skin tones. Oh, that's going a bit quick. You can play around with brightness and shadow and things like that. This particular video that I filmed here, I filmed it in such a way that I could add a LUT over the top. So if I just click on that now, and then we've got the proper color of what that video should actually look like. And you can see that's made a huge difference. So with that LUT turned off, that's what it initially looked like. And with it turned on, that's what it really should be looking like. So you can see just how beautiful that fish is. I love perch, as you can tell in the background. There's a lovely perch photo there. So let's bring in some music to play underneath this clip. Over on the left-hand side, you've got library. You can click on that, and then you've got brand music. And these are clips that I've brought in to my fishing workspace. But there are also clips that you've got above music here. You've got some clips that Capcut have provided you, which are copyright-free clips that you can use. So let's have a listen to this one here, which is called Sunshine. Okay, cool. So let's say I wanted to add that. I just select it, hit the plus button, and it drops it down the bottom. Now I can move it around. So I've got the audio underneath the A roll, then I've got the A roll, and then I've got the B roll above it. To edit it is exactly the same way that you edit audio as you would a video. So if I wanted to jump in and start it here, I guess there's going to be some singing there looking at the... No, I've got a bit more of a B. Okay, cool. Then I can do that. I can drop that there. If I select it, then I can fade it in the top right-hand corner. So if I just give that a 3-second fade in, and then towards the end, I'll give it a 5-second fade out, which will mean that right at the end of the video. Let me clip it here. So if I just select the end of the video, and then because I've got that audio selected, if I hit the split tool, and then I can select that and just delete it. Select the audio again and go to fade out and give it a sort of 5-second fade out or a 3-second fade out. We can see it's fading in for the volume getting louder on the way in and then disappearing on the way out. I'm going to get rid of the B-roll because it's not really making much sense for the clip at the moment. So there we go. You see it fading in, fading out. Obviously, I'm not editing properly here. I'm just demonstrating how things work. It's not a particularly amazing video that we've got going on right now, but you can see the principles of it, and that's what this is all about. A couple of other things. Let's say, for example, I wanted to add in some text over the top of this. If I just select where I want to put the text, and I click on text in the top left, and hit the plus, so I've got default text, but you've got all sorts of other presets, which are, you know, text templates and things like that. So these kind of crazy things here. Some of these are free, some of them are pro. You've got to be on the pro subscription, but let's just go with the default one. Hit the plus, that's going to add some text there, default text. I can go up to the viewer window, I can select it, and then on the right hand side, you see here where it says default text, that's where you can change it. So I can change that to perch, because that's the type of fish it is. Let's say I want to, that's not going to stand out particularly well, you can see. So let me just play that in. So that's not going to stand out particularly well. So if I want to select that again, and then I can either make it larger, I can make it bold, I can change the color of it, like that. Let's just keep it white for the moment, because I think what I'm going to do is if I keep scrolling down, I've got background here, and I can select background, and then I can change the background color. Let's make it something like an orange with a white, make that smaller. Pop that up there maybe. Right, let's just say I'm going to make the world's shortest video. I'm going to pop that over on the left. Tighten that up. Find it just at that point where Duncan's going to start putting the fish back into the water. Can delete the bit on left. I'm going to select this audio again down here and just drag it so I'm fading in and almost straight out. We've got really short video here. There we go. And then say I wanted to get rid of the audio that's talking over the back where you can hear me going, lovely, what do you reckon that? I can click on that to mute the audio. Click left. Obviously, if you're going to put music over the top of your video, you need to really think carefully about what you select. If you're creating a fishing video, maybe it's going to be calming, or there might be some really kind of high intensity action shots where you want to have something a little bit more upbeat. But typically something like drum and bass is not going to sit well, or heavy metal is not going to sit well or over the top of a fishing video or a how to knit video necessarily. Although I quite like the idea of a granny knitting along to heavy metal, so maybe you guys could give that a go. Editing top tips. First off, be ruthless. Use jump cuts, hide cuts with B-roll. And with audio edits, make sure your voice is the same volume all the way through. Music, ambient sounds and sound effects, just don't put them too loud, otherwise they become overbearing. And take risks and try new things. You can always delete your edit and try again. Depending on the type of video you're editing, for example, I do a lot of fishing videos, they should probably be a little bit relaxing. So you need to think about the pace of your video. You don't need music for every second of the video. And you definitely don't need graphics everywhere, or even subtitles across the whole thing. That's a lesson I learned from my first video. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more content creation and fishing related videos, and thanks for watching.